Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of Comic Book Cove. I'm Tom Morris.
And I'm Josh Holderbaum.
This week in Comic Book Cove, we have classic, updated, and alternate characters. The reason being is these 6 issues, we touch on a little bit of past, present, alternate, and maybe future DC characters. And plus, of course, at the very end, we finally get some more resolution to what happened to Superman, and of course, what's going on with the Button. And also a couple of new developments in the world of Blue Beetle and Wonder Woman, and a pretty neat crossover with the Shadow Batman.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these changes in the characters are kind of merging different universes together.
Yes.
You know, it's not just old and new, it's kind of a mishmash, a mix-up of a lot of these. Yeah.
Just put them all together. It was fun this week. There was a couple issues I didn't expect to be reading. Once I did, let's talk about something a little bit different this week. In this episode of Comic Book Cove, we are going to discuss the following titles: Blue Beetle, Wonder Woman number 21, Batman the Shadow number 1, Detective Comics number 955, Action Comics number 978, and The Flash number 21. And as always, spoilers ahead. Blue Beetle Transformations. We haven't talked about Blue Beetle in a couple of months, I believe.
Yeah, quite a long time.
And in the meantime, the reason I wanted to talk about Blue Beetle, there were some developments I thought was pretty significant. Jamie Reyes has been going after, I should say the Scarab, maybe been taking control of Jamie, maybe trying to delete Jamie out, but we find out it's not as mechanical as we thought it once was. At least in this iteration, it isn't.
Yeah, it's not the space entity they had established it as being pre-Flashpoint, because pre-Flashpoint it was a weapon used by an alien called the Reach.
Yes.
And he was sort of one of them in a sense. And then in this, the Scarab is now basically a weapon used by Arion, the Lord of Atlantis, who's a classic DC character who was Lord of Atlantis before it ever sunk, and he was trying to use the Scarab to keep Atlantis from sinking, but ended up being corrupted by the Scarab and going a little off the deep end.
Right. The Scarab's been around for over 30,000 years, 45,000.
Yeah.
Quite a long time. Dr. Fate has also been around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And they have battled once before because in a few issues ago, we had saw that Dr. Fate had come to Ted Kord and said, "You don't know what you're dealing with. This is ancient."
That was DC Universe Rebirth number 1, I think, too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of tying together everything that's going on. Last issue, Jamie Reyes, the Scarab got ripped off of him. And the Scarab was kind of doing battle through Arion against Dr. Fate, but Jamie Reyes is no longer connected to the Scarab. And Ted Kord had rescued Jamie Reyes and took him back to the lab and was running some tests on him, making sure that he was all right. Jamie's a little conflicted about if he was a hero because of the Scarab or if he was a hero because of who he was. He really felt like the Scarab wasn't trying to hurt him like others thought it was.
Yeah. Well, and he's been a very conflicted hero throughout this entire series, because he's kind of the one character we've been reading who doesn't really want to be a hero.
Yes.
He's the one who just has, basically a weapon stuck on the back of his neck that really just takes over when he doesn't want it to.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's trying to go to school, trying to hang out with his friends, and it's, between the Scarab and Ted Kord saying, "Hey, it's a robbery."
Yep.
Go to work. It's that sort of thing. And then we also know that his mom knows that he's the Blue Beetle too. And now that he doesn't have it, she's a lot more happy because that means her son's not in danger.
Yes.
So that's a bit more oomph for him to not be a hero. But at the same time, he doesn't have it, and he kind of wants to do something.
He does. The mom prevails in this argument. She drives through El Paso, and that's when Jamie sees his friend Kevin, who's running through the street saying, "Get him away from me, get him away from me." This is why I wanted to talk about this issue. was because Jamie's friend Kevin, all of a sudden you start seeing, he says, if you knew what I was, you'd leave me be. You can't let him catch up to me. Just leave me be, let me go. And then Jamie notices, talks to his mom that this is the middle of the afternoon in El Paso and everyone's gone. Where are they? Well, it looks like they got infected somehow by Arion, or Arion is casting a spell of despair and is changing people. It changed Blanca into a green monster. Yes.
Very fitting based on the name.
Yep. Shades of Street Fighter.
Yeah, no red hair, unfortunately. Doesn't roll away, unfortunately.
Or no electric shock yet.
Yeah.
And Kevin starts, you see another voice saying, must protect the primary form. Primary form. Turns out he's an OMAC.
Yeah. Yep. He's the OMAC they introduced in New 52 was Kevin Cove, kind of the update to Buddy Blank's old OMAC.
That was pretty, I was surprised at that one.
Yeah, that was cool. That's almost sort of like classic OMAC crossed with the Hulk, kind of in terms of how he thinks. He has this very straightforward, logical, simple way of thinking. You know, where he when Blanca transforms, he's ready to take her out.
Yes.
You know, and Jamie says, "No, don't do that. That's my mom. You know, that's not something you need to do." And then OMAC just says, "Well, OMAC is leaving," and he leaves.
Yep.
Like, okay.
And Jamie is thinking, "There's nothing I can do." Wait, there's something I can do. He goes back to Ted Kord's lab and tells Ted Kord what's going on. And there's a battle underground that could be deciding the fate of humanity. And there's got to be something you can do. Well, you don't have a power suit. You don't have your scarab. Jamie Reyes said that never stopped you either. And they're having a little argument, and Ted Kord's assistant is trying to interject. They're both, not now. What really happens is Jamie Reyes puts on the suit of Ted Kord's, of his blue Beetle suit, which I thought was pretty cool. So we have that mixture of a relatively new character in Jamie Reyes, who's been around maybe about 10 years now, and then Ted Kord, who is a legacy character, but he's wearing the suit.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And we were discussing, too, before this, is the suit going to stick with this series? Is that is the Scarab maybe on its way out? Will Jamie switch over to the classic Blue Beetle style of fighting, kind of the more Batman-esque style, or is he going to stick with the Scarab? And I'd still really love to see Jamie, using some sort of suit, and then have Ted Kord in a more superheroic role too. I mean, it's cool to have him, kind of on the intercom. Their back and forth makes me happy, but we'll see where that goes, and we'll see how well he'll be able to fare against Arion, because this is the super-powered Arion, basically. He's taken out Dr. Fate. OMAC kind of took off. I mean, the possibility he could come back, but doesn't look like he will. And the only thing we really see that Jamie might have to his help is Arion's servant Mordecai, who we've seen kind of his right-hand man, has kind of been browbeaten for a lot of these issues. He's the Arion describes him as my inept but loyal servant, which is a great way to make that loyalty in your followers grow. And we see him, Mordecai, kind of looking over at Fate's helmet, crumpled on the ground over there, like, maybe I should do something about this.
Right.
So we'll see how well he can fare against Arion.
Definitely. This was a nice little issue just to take a break from the norm, but to see a couple little plot devices that maybe have some bigger ramifications overall with the DC universe. Will it stick? Don't know. But until then, we'll keep reading and we'll keep seeing if we do see Jamie Reyes in a classic Blue Beetle uniform, if Ted Kord comes out of retirement, if the Scarab is gone for good, and where does OMAC fit everywhere. That is Blue Beetle. Wonder Woman number 21, The Truth, Part 4. Things are, like we talked about last episode, things are converging. This is the present day Wonder Woman. She got shot, but it didn't seem to affect her as much as it seemed to last issue. Yeah,
that looked pretty dire. She kind of shakes that off in this issue.
Right.
Even takes at least one more bullet.
Yes, she does.
Right through the chest and shakes it off too, which kind of makes more sense for Wonder Woman, but essentially the poison unit's been tasked with delaying Wonder Woman and Steve from getting to Veronica Cale and Cheetah, who are heading to Themyscira. Wonder Woman takes the poison unit out with relative ease.
Yes.
Yeah, she even tells Marina Maru, I'm not particularly happy at anyone who shoots me, but I'm very unhappy at someone who successfully shoots me twice. So they get taken out, and they land on Themyscira right after Cale and Cheetah have already gotten there. And it's interesting, too, because now we see that this Themyscira they're on is not the same Themyscira as what we're seeing Hippolyta and the other Amazons kind of converging at the tree to, to stop whatever comes out of it. And it looks like it's maybe the same island, but they're kind of out of sync with one another.
Right.
That, Cale and Cheetah are on one version of the island, and the Amazons are there too. They just can't interact or see each other or anything. Cale says it's like trying to see the fifth dimension when you can only see 4 dimensions.
There's something definitely there.
Yep.
What is the key to unlock this? Because Veronica Cale, and she has Izzy with her, and of course Phobos and Deimos, and of course our Dr. Cyber, not as looking as awesome as in present day. She looks all mean in her little image. But you see the dogs just start howling. And they're calling out to their father. They're howling. Then when Steve and Wonder Woman get there, Cheetah and Wonder Woman start fighting. Well, while she's there, all of a sudden her snake bites start bleeding again.
Yep, and that's what makes the tree pop up just out of nowhere. And Cale tells Cheetah, "Hey, open it." And Cheetah says, "What? How?
How?
What?
Right.
What? Yeah." So as Cheetah and Wonder Woman start fighting, and Cheetah starts inflicting some damage on Wonder Woman, it's the blood from Wonder Woman that drips onto the tree.
Yes.
And that kind of opens the big red portal inside the tree.
Some type of interdimensional portal.
Yeah.
And what is it? Phobos and Deimos, they go in. Wonder Woman gets sucked in.
Yep.
Izzy goes.
Yep. Izzy runs in from the helicopter, which I think that's the first time we've really seen her move or do anything in this series without her face. I mean, maybe that's her soul bringing her body, kind of reaching out and bringing it back in. I don't know.
I don't recall. Did Cheetah get sucked in too?
No, Cheetah's outside and Steve is outside.
Yeah, and Dr.
Because they're outside because Steve says, "I don't think that's a normal tree," and Cheetah says, "Shut up."
Yep.
So Wonder Woman and Cale end up on the inside of that, and it's only in there that Cale finally explains, "Look, I'm just doing all this for my daughter. I'm just trying to get her back. She ran into the tree. I don't even know if she's alive at this point." And so they kind of team up a little bit. Wonder Woman offers, to help her find her daughter.
Yes.
So it's kind of probably an uneasy partnership for them, but they're just trying to figure out where they are, too, because they don't know where they are. Cale even says, "Well, if this is your idea of paradise, we have different definitions." And Wonder Woman says, "Well, this isn't Themyscira. This is somewhere else." And then eventually they hear singing, and that turns out to be Izzy, who's in there,
playing
alive and well. Yeah. And then here's this hunky, dark-haired guy, chained to a chair, very calmly saying, "Oh, Diana, it's so nice to see you again."
Do I know you?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm Ares, and welcome to my prison. You can help me get out. What?
Yeah.
Where did this all come from?
Yeah.
Isn't the god of war just kind of sitting there in chains, holding a cup, a chalice, and he's just, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Izzy's playing the harp.
Or having the harp played for him. Yeah.
It was very weird.
What a prison. What a horrible prison. Which it did make me think, if you're the god of war, maybe you don't want niceties like that. He'd rather be out, fighting. But it does beg the question: if Ares is in the tree, Wonder Woman has fought the classic version of Ares in the Year One story arc. But if Ares has been in the tree the whole time, who was that?
Right.
Was that an aspect of Ares? Was that maybe Phobos and Deimos combined to impersonate Ares. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Very strange, but at the same time, we're starting to get more answers. The present, the past, kind of coming together. Looks like they're going to lead back to Themyscira, going to have some type of war with Ares and the demons. And is Izzy, even though she seems whole, is she truly whole? Has she been affected? Is she loyal to Ares? What goes on?
Is that even Izzy that they meet? You know, because that seems awfully convenient that she's perfectly fine. And where's Phobos and Deimos?
Yes.
Because they ran into the tree too.
Yes.
So.
And what happens with Steve, Veronica, and Cheetah on the other side?
Yeah.
So those are questions that we're going to get answered here in the next few weeks of Wonder Woman. But we definitely see it coming, this story arc, this conclusion of this first year run of Wonder Woman finally converging, and we're seeing a different take on Wonder Woman's origin, but it's cleared up.
Yep.
Will they still continue to do present day and past stories, or once they get there, everything will be
it is as jarring as it might sound to have that back and forth. That is actually really cool.
It is.
How they do that. It's a nice storytelling way. It gives them enough time to go through those flashbacks too.
Definitely.
More than just a couple panels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is time for our first break, and when we come back, we've got Batman themed with a team up with The Shadow and Detective Comics number 955. We'll be back in just a moment.